My name is Dan Dorval, and I'm President and CEO of Dorval and Cherney Financial Advisors. I am an independent certified financial planner and author of my book, Financial Success for the Rest of Us, Reality-Based Financial Planning for Mainstream America.
Hi, my name is Leah Woodley. I'm an associate financial advisor with Dorval and Cherney Financial Advisors. Our conversations discuss what it means to do quality of life planning in all areas of your life. Dan, we spend decades preparing financially for retirement. So, why do so few people prepare emotionally?
Well, that challenge is a big one. When we talk about the numbers, that's one thing, but then wrapping our brains around the idea that I've been maybe doing this profession or career for, decades, like you said, and now I'm going to consciously choose to give up my paycheck, which has provided for all of my family's wants and needs over that period of time. And now I'm going to choose to give that up, which I felt like was somewhat under my control. I go to work, I get paid, now I can pay our bills and do things like that. And now I'm going to choose to rely on income streams that for many people feel very much out of their control, whether that's Social Security, it might be a pension. Even if you're talking about taking income from your investments, for many people, that doesn't feel like something they control. And so that emotional element of saying, okay, I'm going to go through this massive life change from going to work every day or most days to all of a sudden filling my time with other things that hopefully bring you quality of life. That is often a really difficult decision for people.
Yeah, it definitely is. And we see that a lot. I was speaking with a nurse, and she was saying she was surprised by the fact that she didn't feel like she had purpose in retirement. And so she picked up a part-time job doing something else just to give her a sense of purpose. What types of emotional challenges do you see among successful professionals that tend to surprise them once they retire?
Yeah, for some people, it's a lack of structure.
Mm,
So their job or their profession gave them this, hey, I wake up, this is what I do, and now I have structure to my days or my weeks, and I know kind of how things work. And when that structure goes away, we've had feedback where people will say, I wake up, I think I'm going to get these things done today. And at the end of the day, they didn't get anything done because they could always do it tomorrow. And so they found themselves putting things off, and then they didn't feel very good about themselves.
mm,
So that's one thing from an emotional standpoint is feeling like you have some structure to your days. That's important to a lot of people. Now, some people don't need structure. They're self-motivated in whatever way, and they're able to do those things without worrying about it. For those people, a lot of times it's okay, how do I maintain social relationships? Because work,
mm.
for that nurse that you mentioned, she's got coworkers, she's got patients, she's got interactions that are meaningful interactions. It's not just small talk. You're engaging with people in important activities together. And so if that's something you value, it's often difficult for people to replace that in retirement. Now they might do that with their grandchildren, they might do that with groups that they're associated with. They might do pickleball, like I've started to play pickleball. And so getting that social interaction is another really important element of quality of life for a lot of people.
Definitely. It's definitely critically important to have that social bond. So, you've met with a lot of people preparing for retirement. Are there any signs that you see that someone may be emotionally unprepared for retirement, even if their finances are in great shape?
Well, I think probably the biggest clue is people who search for reasons not to retire, but at the same time tell us they're desperate to retire. And the
Mm,
classic example is health insurance. So they walk in, they go, and if we ask, well, when would you like to be able to retire? And they say, oh, yesterday.
mhm,
And I can't stand going to work. It does not bring me quality of life. And then they start giving you the excuses for all the reasons why they're still working. And health insurance is a big one for a lot of the people that we help. And they say, well, I can't, I need to keep working because of health insurance. Then when we
mhm,
show them, okay, here's how you'll deal with health insurance. It's a puzzle piece. It's a thing we have to address. But then we show them how to deal with it and we show them they can afford to make that choice. And then they move on to the next thing. Well, we still have a mortgage, or I'd really like to pay for this project before I retire. And they find reasons to push things off. And a lot of times that
Mhm.
is the fear of the unknown. I've never retired before. I don't know what that's going to feel like. I've got friends or family who have told me that they struggled with it, and maybe I'm a little bit, worried too. So, wrapping my brain around it, the easiest thing for me to do is to procrastinate and continue doing exactly what I've always done.
Yes, we see that all the time. And that is great. That is definitely a great sign to see whether or not you are emotionally prepared or not. Now, for those who are not at retirement yet, leading up to retirement, are there any suggestions that you have to help them to begin building a purpose beyond their career and preparing emotionally for retirement?
Well, nurses sometimes have the ability to cut back. And
Hmm.
so they can transition their way into retirement. I was working maybe, zero point 0.9 full time, something like that. I cut back, maybe I'm working zero point 0.6, then maybe I cut back some more. And so I can transition my way into retirement and start to think about how do I fill that extra time, whether that's with travel, whether that's, with friends or family, but they get a chance to transition. For many professions, they don't have that ability. It's cold turkey. I'm either working or I'm not working. Now, some of those people will consult on the side, and that is also an opportunity to remain engaged with your professional career, but still kind of practice this idea of retirement. And then, of course, thinking through your passions, things that really do bring you quality of life, those activities starting to become parts of a group and doing some of that before you retire. And then I think one of the biggest ones is, where are you going to live?
Mm.
And where you raised your family might have worked wonderful for that phase of your life. But now that I'm retired, I might think a little differently. So, really evaluating, we just had somebody tell us they went down to Tennessee, they looked at a 55 plus community, and they just fell in love with it immediately
Mm.
because there were so many activities. There were people around. They're not going to be socially isolated, which is one of their biggest fears in retirement. And so thinking through, where do I want to spend my time and how do I want to do that? If you can do that ahead of time, it really helps you wrap your brain around retirement.
That's really a good one. That's really interesting. I think a lot of people just automatically default to I'm just going to stay where I'm at. This is where I'm at, but that's great to just consider other options and consider what's going to bring you the most quality of life. Is there anything else that you want to add before we close?
Yeah, I think really that reminder about quality of life. We have some people who really struggle with that concept. They're so focused on numbers. And then when we remind them that they're financially able to choose what they want to do, switching their brain over to, okay, what do I actually want to do with my time and my energy? We have some people who aren't very good at that, and we have to relentlessly remind them to think in terms of hey, it's not just having more; it's about experiences, those social interactions, the things that really matter to us.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for all the great tips that you shared and the insight and experiences that you shared with us. And until next time, have a great one.
Thanks, Leah.
Thank you.